Now, before talking about the situation surrounding Attack on Titan manga chapter 137, I think I should go over the trope of power of friendship because a lot of people are apparently having a huge problem with this particular thing. Even though this trope is one of the most popular tropes in anime history, and a lot of amazing shows have actually utilized these tropes time and time again. Now, I've said this thing quite a lot in the past, but I'm repeating myself here once again. Tropes are not inherently bad. These days, with the dissection of tropes and the abundance of reviews and analysis, people automatically assume for a fact that if a show or a series is utilizing some sort of a trope, then that is automatically bad. That is totally not the case. Yeah, it's true that dissection of a trope or even subversion of a trope is pretty interesting if it is implemented properly, but that does not mean that a trope is bad in itself. If a trope is properly utilized in the story, then it acts as an ornament for the story and it improves the overall product. At the same time, if it is implemented badly or poorly without any plausible explanation, then it demerits the story and it just goes on to become a cheap tactic or a cheap gimmick. But that is not actually the case here, and a lot of people don't tend to understand the fact that Attack on Titan is not using this trope for the very first time. Hell, a lot of the most popular shows and the best rated shows and anime also utilize the power of friendship trope. It's a pretty common trope after all. For example, Ed's final confrontation to the truth in Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, where he goes on to say that I have my friends with me. That is the very definition of the power of friendship trope. And even Attack on Titan has actually utilized this thing in the past in the form of the trio of Eren, Mikasa and Armin. So this is not exactly new. Yeah, sure, I totally understand why this controversy has come up in chapter 137. So, hello and welcome to UnderYZ, my name is Soham. So let's talk about this particular thing in today's video. But before that, if you're new here, then please consider subscribing to our channel since I do weekly anime and manga related content along with Attack on Titan reviews. With that being said, let's begin the video. Now the basic fact is that the power of friendship trope is basically utilized by the hero or the group of heroes where they take the help of their friends. Is that actually the case here? I really don't think so. Now yes, granted, like I said in my previous video, I'm not the biggest fan of this particular chapter. For me, this was not a groundbreaking chapter like the start of the Rumbling, and at the same time this was not inherently bad as well. This was simply an okayish chapter, and above all, I think this was mostly a setup chapter for the events that are about to happen in chapter 138. 138 will probably go on to become the most important chapter in the history of Attack on Titan, and it is bound to make or break the series. Isayama is definitely setting up a lot of different things for that particular chapter, and that is pretty evident from the things that happen in chapter 137. But in the context of this particular chapter, it was pretty alright and okayish. But at the same time, let me tell you all why I don't think this is exactly the power of friendship trope utilized here, because this actually does not contradict the lore of the story. Now, what do we know so far in the series? We know for a fact that the Paths is a very special dimension which is beyond the laws of life and death, because Ymir wanted that power after being treated so harshly for such a long time. But in spite of all of this and in spite of gaining all this power, she was never able to detach the bonds that she had with the Fritz family. This is something which Zeke never fully understood, and this is the main reason why she actually accepted Eren in the very first place, because Eren Yeager was the person who understood Ymir and he understood the pains and bonds and sorrows that Ymir had in the very first place. Eren knew that despite all her powers, she was always trapped in a trance-like state, and this was not a true freedom. And this was the major reason why Eren was chosen over Zeke. But the events that happened in chapter 137 proved Zeke wrong after his interactions with Armin. Now prior to this chapter, we already knew that all the Eldians were actually connected to the Paths dimension even beyond death. So that is not something new, that is not a contradiction, that is not a plot hole as of yet. But the major thing which happens here is the memories. Zeke initially believed for a fact that the main purpose of a man or the main purpose of a human being is to live, reproduce and die. That's it, nothing more than that. But after the interactions that he had with Armin, and after he gets to see the memories in the form of baseball, he finally realized that he loved all of that. He loved the catching practice, he loved the baseball practice and everything that he had with Kurosawa. And he wanted more of that, even though it had basically no links to reproduction whatsoever. That was a totally tertiary aspect of the human life which dealt with his dreams and aspirations. Thus, this was the trigger point, and this brought back all the prior Titan users. And because of this particular wish that he wanted to keep playing catch with Kushava, prompted him to bring back everyone and prompted him to ask help from his father Grisha as well as Kushava and other people. At the same time, Armin also wanted to save his friends, and as a result of it, he asked for the help of Bertolt in this particular regard. Thus, all the prior Titan users come together in a very Avengers Endgame-like style, and that is the major reason why everyone is saying that this is the power of friendship trope that has been utilized here and that has quote-unquote ruined Attack on Titan. I honestly don't believe that is exactly the case here. Yeah, sure, this chapter was not the best thing in the world, the best chapter that Attack on Titan has ever seen, but even after all of that, I don't really think that this is exactly a good example of power of friendship trope, even though at the end of the things, Armin says that it's thanks to the powers of you guys that I'm able to do this particular thing, that he's able to blow up the founding Titan. Yeah, sure, that can be alluded to the power of friendship trope, but it's not exactly a bad thing in the very first place, because this is not exactly ruining the lore of the series, and this is not exactly creating a plot hole or a plot loop here, because this was just the realization of Zeke Yeager that he was wrong all throughout this, and that is the major reason why all the prior Titan wielders and prior Titan users came to the help of the Alliance at this moment. It's not the best storytelling technique, but it's not bad at the very same time. Moreover, people need to realize the fact that these guys are actually dead. They have not been revived, there's no reincarnation jutsu that is utilized here, this is just the utilization of the powers of the Paths dimension. That's it, just that's it. Overall, I can't really say that I'm a huge fan of the way in which things were handled in this particular chapter, and most of it really felt like a setup for chapter 138, but just to consider the things of this chapter, I really don't think that I can say that this is a power of friendship trope that has been utilized here, even though sure, Armin's friends helped him a lot in order to finally tackle Eren and make the explosion possible. But at the end of the day, the damn thing is called an alliance, so of course all the members are going to help each other, because their sole objective at this point is to stop the rumbling and stop the murder of millions of people on planet Earth. So all the people are bound to give their 100% in this particular regard, and I just think that is the case which is happening here in Attack on Titan manga chapter 137. But then again, all of these things were simply my thoughts and my opinion. You are absolutely free to agree or disagree. However, I want you all to have a civil discussion in the comment section below, and I'm really interested to find out your thoughts about this particular thing. So what do you guys think about all of this? Please mention your thoughts in the comment section below. So that's it for today guys, thank you so much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like it, share it with your friends and subscribe to the channel for more. This is WonderYZ and I'll see you soon in the next video.